Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock, which means it's time for a Talk Magic. And today I'm going to talk to you about somebody who I have raved about on the channel over and over again. This is one of the hardest working YouTubers in Magic. He is the blueprint as far as I'm concerned when it comes to reviewing products. He's been in the industry a hell of a long time. He's one of the nicest people I know. Very clever guy, very great performer. And you know what? He does everything right when it, he has the YouTube channel that I wish I had. It's got production quality. It's got no swearing. He's really nice. It's just amazing. And he's a great guy as well. I am, of course, talking about the best kept secret in Magic, the one and only temporary co-host of the Magic podcast, Tyler Lunsford. How you doing, Tyler? You okay?
Man, I'm doing great. I still don't know that you're actually talking about me with all those things, but I'll take them. I appreciate it. So thanks a lot. Thanks for that. That was a really nice introduction.
Have I raved about you on the channel? I'm a huge fan of your YouTube channel. When you were doing YouTube before I started doing YouTube, and before I actually started doing Magic TV and I actually started doing anything like that, I didn't watch many YouTube channels, but I was religiously watching yours. And I've always been a big fan, and I wish more people would follow you because your reviews are concise, your content is great, you got a good look, everything's absolutely perfect, and you know what you're talking about as well, and that's what I love. And this channel, Magic TV, is all about shining the light, not just on the Sean Farquhars and the Greg Wilsons and, all of those big names. Everyone knows those guys. Yeah, we interview those people. But I also want to shine a light on people who maybe aren't as well known in the Magic community for a variety of different reasons. And recently, a lot of the interviews I've been doing have been with people like that aren't as well known. And you're one of those guys. I think that if I could get anything from this interview, I want more people to follow you and be aware of what you do, because I'm just the biggest fan in the world.
Well, I greatly appreciate that. That seriously means the world. And I really do appreciate the opportunity if you let me come on here, because I'm just excited to talk Magic.
I'm excited as well. I'm super excited. So, as I said, you are the best kept secret of Magic. So let's start off by giving people a frame of reference. Let's start off by talking about your origin story, because you're 20 something now.
Yeah, I'm about to be 23, so yeah, still 23. In my lower 20s. Yep.
Still low 20s. So tell me, how did you get into Magic? When did it happen? What was your origin story?
Yep. So like everyone, my grandpa got me a Magic kit. No, I'm joking. No, he didn't. Actually, nobody in my family was into Magic before I did Magic. I never had like my uncle or my grandpa or anybody like show me a trick. What I did have was my parents throw me a birthday party when I was 4, and as like a treat at the end. I mean, I don't know if this is like an American thing or birthday parties everywhere, but we have like little goodie bags, like little treat bags they hand out to all the kids.
Yeah, like party favors and stuff like that.
Yep, exactly. And so everybody got like a little thing, and all the bags had like little magic tricks in them, just like a few magic tricks that like we got from like a party supply store, like just cheap, couple dollar. Like I'm pretty sure one was just like putting a coin in and like, you push it in, you take it out, coins gone, whatnot, that kind of stuff. And the magician at my birthday party actually made me cry because he told everyone he was going to make me vanish, and I genuinely believed him. And so I literally bust out like on stage crying, had to get taken off stage. So my first experience with a magician and Magic was wonderful. I mean, absolutely amazing. Yeah, perfect. As you can tell. And basically what happened was, after the show and after my birthday party, I started going through those tricks that my mom had given out and those that she had packed into those bags. And I just got obsessed with it. And so there was like a small Magic store that was about 40 minutes away from my house, and we would go to that occasionally. But like brick and mortar, I mean, over the past like 15, 20 years, I mean, it's just kind of gone down in most areas, at least, especially where I'm at. So it's been tough for like the brick and mortar side of my magic love to stay alive. But that's kind of how I started getting into it, because I would go to like a magic store anytime we were on vacation and I saw one. It was just like one of those things we would do. I started buying magic online and just a bunch of different things. But what started it was that 4th birthday party with those goodie bags that had the treats inside of them and all that good stuff. So that's what started. It was a little cheap, dollar store magic trick, I guess.
Wow. And so when did you start taking it seriously, like going from the dollar store tricks to actually learning, reading books and stuff like that? How old were you? Did you because I interview a lot of people and they go, oh, I learned some tricks as a kid, but then I stopped doing it and I came back to it. Did you carry on? Was it like the bug bit at that point?
So it did for like a little bit, and I would still just do like kind of like cheap tricks for a little bit and just like kind of like classics that you could find in like magic kits and stuff like that. And recently we had talked about this just like a little bit, but I got out of it for a couple years. And what I ended up doing was I saw Colin Ski on America's Got Talent, kind of got me back into magic when I was in middle school. And so I'd say probably when I was about 12 maybe is when I started actually taking it more seriously and buying more magic that was not just the dollar store stuff, because I'd been out of it for a few years. So now I'm shopping at my main place was Magic Geek. Now a lot of people don't know about this place because they actually went out of business probably when I was in late middle school, early high school, somewhere around that time. And fun fact, their YouTube channel is actually Vanishing Ink's YouTube channel. It was sold. Yeah.
Bought Magic Geek, yeah.
Yep. And so they ended up taking their channel. And so that's how I found out about Magic Geek. And also my place that I went to after Magic Geek was Penguin. So I started buying a lot of stuff from Penguin at that point. But yeah, so that's kind of when I started going from just the cheap tricks to the other stuff. And that's kind of how I did it, was Magic Geek. And then they kind of went out of stock. I actually won a contest from them, ended up using it. What I won, I'll tell you what I won in a second, but I ended up using it in the talent show 8th grade year. I won a free straight jacket, and it was like their biggest giveaway of the year. I think it was like a New Year's thing, like a Christmas giveaway. And they had like 6 different boxes, and all the boxes had a bunch of different tricks. And only one of them was like the big box that had like the big stuff in it, like the straight jacket. And so I still have it today. I still use it occasionally. And that was just Magic Geek is somebody that really helped me get more immersed in the magic world, especially the retailing side of it, and like buying tricks from dealers and stuff like that. And that just kind of propelled me into doing even more in the future. So yeah, 8th grade and just earlier middle school, I guess probably 6th, 7th grade is when I started buying a little bit more stuff, and then really got into it about 8th grade.
Well, I want to carry on talking about that, but you know what, Magic Geek, I was, I'm old enough to remember them even starting, and they were revolutionary at the time. I remember the adverts they used to put in the Magic magazines, like it was a hot tub with a load of guys lying around, and I remember the headline at the bottom, "We magic hard," and it was just like packs of cards and everything. And who was the guy? Chris Ballinger, I think it was.
Chris Ballinger. Now
he's
like
now gone on
media,
to be, like a YouTube guy, right?
Yeah, which is interesting. Yeah, he's now like a family YouTuber. Now I think he has like 6 kids, something like that. His sister is the girl who plays Miranda Sings. If anyone knows who Miranda Sings is, growing up watching the trailers, I didn't really know who she was. But she has like over 2 million subscribers, I think, on YouTube or something. And she had her own Netflix show and all this stuff. And occasionally she would appear in the trailers or in the performances as Miranda Sings. And I think that's one thing that I wish a lot more dealers did these days, is like Magic Geek I'd say they're probably one of the first people. I mean, because you don't even see it now. So I'd say they're probably one of the first and only people that did full performances of literally everything on their website that they could.
And I'll tell you why you don't see it very often. You don't see it very, and a lot of people. Before I tell you why, a lot of people thought that Chris used to work for them, used to own the company or something. He didn't. He just worked for them. But I think the reason is Chris was incredibly talented.
Oh, yeah.
And he was the face of the company. He was like the Oz Perlman of Magic Week back in the day.
Exactly, and kind of looked like him too.
He did, in a way, yeah, right. And I there's very few people ever that can produce the amount of content that Chris Pallinger did. Like, there's very few people that can, because you say that he performed everything. He did. And he was banging out, and not just terrible performances, really good performances. I remember when I first brought out Keymaster, he did that. He did everything. And it's a little bit like what Oz was doing at Penguin at the same time. Oz was filming pretty much everything, and they had their own performances of all the tricks. I don't think you see it these days because there's not many people that can literally. I do it with the review show. Well, not completely, because Rye's learning half the tricks, I'm learning half the tricks, and we're not even covering probably a quarter of what comes out. So, and we're like, good grief, this is hard work. So I can't imagine anyone else being able to pull it off.
I can't either. And at the same time, he was creating YouTube content as well. So it's not just the performances. I mean, he was going into like the review shows and stuff like that. I mean, and his review shows were something in themselves too. I mean, he had different series. Like one was like a 60-second review. One was it was called a review. So it was like REVU, like YOU, and he would have questions come in and basically review a trick based on people's questions or what they wanted to know. I mean, this guy was pumping out content like it was nothing and learning new tricks every single day like it was nothing too. I mean, I think also part of the reason is that as it's become easier to release magic, the quality of magic has kind of gone down in some ways for some of people, like for a lot of the releases, just because the Penguin Partner program is like so easy to at least just get your foot in the door and get a download out or something similar, like The Wire. I know they have standards, but it made it a lot easier for someone to get out an idea that's maybe half baked or not, or even Murphy sometimes with some of the products they put out. It's like it probably would be impossible to perform all of these tricks because some of them it's just like they don't even work. And then you run I mean, obviously you want to be honest, but then you run the risk of like, well, if you do a full performance and we just bought 50 units of this thing, I mean, if it looks like crap, and I just wish we still had that of everyone performing everything, which is, I mean, I don't even perform it in my reviews, which is something I want to start doing next year whenever I kind of change my setup and start posting more of the relevant reviews that I've been working on. I want to perform all of the tricks I review. And I think that's just something that I wish a lot of magic retailers would consider, at least on their social media content. And Penguin's kind of starting to get into it a little bit more with like their social content and the reels they've posted and stuff like that. But man, I mean, it's just like a different age.
I think that there's, it's the thing that's missing, ironically, from a lot of magic retailers these days, is embracing social media. A lot of the big companies, I mean, they have, I mean, Murphy's have got Bo Kramer, but he only produces like one video a week. You've got Vanishing Ink. They put a bit of stuff out. Illusionists put a bit of stuff out. Yeah. Like you say, Penguin focus on the reels. Alakazam do a good job. They're putting a lot of videos out. But I think that, there's a gap in the market for a magic shop to be out there that's just embracing socials. And
I absolutely agree. I mean, but it's hard because I thought about the same thing. I'm like, well, one day I'd love to run a magic shop. It'd be pretty cool. But how do you break into something where like Penguin kind of has their audience, Vanishing kind of has their audience, Illusionist has their audience? Like it's difficult. I mean, Alakazam and just everything.
You know what? At some point, there's always a niche. There's always a market out there for somebody else. There's no such thing as a marketplace that's so crowded that you can't go in there again. You can't be the next, Penguin Magic. You can't be the next Illusionist, but you can be the first you can. I think that there is a niche out there for a magic shop to come in and just do a great job. They've just got to do everything right. They've got to look at how they can do things differently to everybody else. I think that's important.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I was, I think I heard it on a podcast I was listening to today, but someone said something along the lines of, they were actually talking about how they started their podcast. And like a lot of people were telling them like, hey man, podcast scene's like kind of crowded. Don't know if you really want to do something like that. And he basically said, well, no one's ever done it like I've done it, or no one's ever worked as hard as I have to be as different as I am and stuff like that. And it's just like, at some point it's going to be like there is a gap in every market because somebody can find something, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, you know, using me as an example, when I started Magic TV, there were a ton of Magic review channels out there, an absolute ton of them.
Yeah, same.
And you know, it's about finding a niche. My niche was doing a review channel with a 6-year-old, you know, and that was kind of stupid, but worked. And then,
Yeah.
you know, when me and Lloyd started the Magic podcast, it was massively crowded. There were so many podcasts, and the Magic podcast does crazy numbers. And again, it was about finding a niche. It was about being two guys that really don't care about what they say, and you know, they're very connected within the industry, but they also have no filter. And that was something that wasn't being done. So I think it's about looking at what's not being done and seeing if you can, you know, bring something out that fits that niche.
Yeah. And I think now, what, on the podcast, we're up to 10, 11 listeners. So
12.
we're doing
I think
12.
12.
So everything is, yeah, you found your niche and now you're growing. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. but
Seriously.
Yeah, no, you yeah, seriously, it's 13. So yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, and I love talking about this sort of stuff, but I want to circle back a little bit before we carry on talking about this. I want to circle back a little bit about your career. So you started watching Magic Geek, and because I've followed you on YouTube for a long time, but I don't know your story, so I'm going to be asking questions that I just don't know the answer to. So you found Magic Geek, and from the back of Magic Geek, you then you know, went to Penguin Magic, which is a great company, absolutely great company, and you're buying more stuff and you're getting more immersed in it. You get more immersed in it. What's the plan at this point? Do you start doing gigs? I don't know how often you gig right now. I don't know anything. So what was the plan? Were you thinking, you know what, I want to be a professional, or was it a case of, hey, I want to have fun? Because I know that you've got a degree in marketing. I know that's your thing. So let's talk through. You were getting into Magic, super getting into it. You're in middle school. You're entering talent competitions. You're buying stuff from Penguin and Magic Geek. What happens then?
Yep. So I'm happy to share this because I don't talk about it enough on my channel. I feel like I would love to start doing some more like personable content that can, you know, get my personality more out there, because the reviews are kind of cut and dry. You know, it's just like, get to the point. People want to know what they came to hear, stuff like that. And so I'm happy that I get to share this. So thanks for asking. But it's kind of been, I went from, I was buying a lot of Magic. I mean, a ton of Magic. I was using all the money that I had from birthday, Christmas. I mean, my parents would say, "What do you want for Christmas this year? What do you want for your birthday or whatever?" And my birthday's in November, so like they're back to back. So we got birthday and then Christmas, and I would double dip on the Magic just all year, every year. I mean, growing up, and I still do. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, just give me a gift card. I'll go figure out something. And then that gift card ends up getting used on Magic. But so I started going from buying way too much Magic, and I was not gigging enough to justify the price tag that I was spending on Magic, which I'm sure a lot of people are, especially like hobbyists. Obviously, they're just buying it because they want to have it and, you know, grow their collection and stuff. But I wasn't gigging enough. I was probably gigging maybe 10 times a year, just like once a month maybe. And so I would do like small shop. My standout is probably like parlor. That's like my favorite. And so I love doing parlor stuff. I love having like a stage, but not necessarily, you know, 10,000 people or 500 people, but, you know, like 50 people, 40 people, 30 people. That's really like what I love, and trying to have like an intimate experience with the audience. And that's kind of what I started doing whenever I was in 8th grade. That's kind of when I started getting paid to do shows. And I would go around. I've kind of kept that same character and that kind of that same mindset of, I really like an intimate audience, but not necessarily like of 5 people crowding around me watching me do card tricks. And so I found out that just over the years, I've really, really enjoyed that setting of, you know, maybe 30 to 50 to 60 people where you can kind of crack jokes. And I'm kind of my character's kind of just myself, but on steroids. So it's actually kind of like the Magic podcast a little bit. I just get up there and I really don't care what I say, for the most part. And I don't mind, you know, making jokes at other people's expense or making jokes at my expense and just getting the audience laughing. So I'd say I'm definitely like in the comedy realm / like just, you know, not really giving a crap, but I'll also at the same time making sure the trick is impactful, and that they both kind of hold the same weight of presentation and also like performance and stuff like that. So that's where I'm at now. And I still do about, I'd probably say now it's cut down, especially over COVID. It got difficult to do because I didn't do virtual shows. And so I probably do like some holiday shows now. So I probably end up doing like 3 to 5 gigs a year, just based off of like, maybe it's like wedding stuff or Christmas parties, like office parties for like corporate stuff. So that's kind of what I do now. And so that kind of actually led into me starting a YouTube channel. I don't know if you want to get into that now, but
that is something I want to get into. Yeah. So where did, because this is ever since I did YouTube, one of the big questions I get daily is, how did you get into YouTube? How can I get into YouTube? How can I become a millionaire from YouTube? All of these. Yeah, exactly. Don't do YouTube. There you go.
Yeah, that's your answer. Don't do YouTube.
Yeah.
Don't rely on AdSense. Let's move on.
But what was the reason behind doing a YouTube channel, and where did that all come from?
Yep. And it leads in literally off of what I was just last saying. But because I only do that amount of shows, and I perform close up for like friends and family and at like parties and stuff, or if it's just like on the street occasionally. So like that's really what I do. Like if I'm testing something out for review, it's probably getting tested out on like friends of friends or family, or it just in like a close up setting. So that's what I do mostly as far as like today performing regularly. That's what I do. And getting through all of these like shows where I enjoy getting booked more, but also at the same time, like magic's not the only thing I do. I also work full time, but growing up, I worked part time doing some other things, and I had a bunch of I just enjoy doing creative stuff, but I always knew that magic was something that I wanted to try to make some sort of income off of, whether it was part-time, full-time, or whatnot. But that's what everybody, like, that's what my friends knew me as, like growing up, like the magician, or like my parents would post like my shows on their Facebook and stuff. So I was always known as like, oh, like anytime my parents' friends see me, they're like, you still do magic, or how's magic going? So that was like my thing growing up. So I loved it. But I wasn't doing enough shows to justify the amount of love that I had for magic, or the amount of time that I even wanted to spend on it. And so because I would do that, and I had all these other creative things, I said, well, why not? Let's combine them all. I have a love of video. I have a love of content creation. I have a love of YouTube. I have a love of marketing. So why not just pack them all into one? And then magic's just kind of the biggest part about it. And so what I enjoy about doing YouTube is that I'm able to kind of exercise all these outlets of creativity with, I mean, I produce my own stuff, so, and I also like technology stuff, like even this microphone, like I own like a bunch of different microphones because I just enjoy finding out new tech stuff. So it really just all comes into like one bubble. And I was spending way too much money on all the magic I was buying and not having any money coming in. And not that I was expecting to get rich off of YouTube or even make money off of YouTube at all, but I needed a way to justify the price tag. So I needed more time, like to say, okay, well, I made a review out of it. So like, why not? Why not buy it? Like it justifies the $200 spent. And also my family had asked, hey, Tyler, like you have been spending a lot of money on magic recently, or you like for Christmas or for birthday, like I was mentioning earlier, it's like, you sure you don't want anything else besides like new magic books or DVDs or tricks or whatnot? And I'm like, no, that's all I want. And as I grew up and started learning that I could do YouTube, for Christmas, I would start asking for tech stuff and then magic stuff. So it kind of rolled into one and would combine. And that's what led to starting a YouTube channel, was all those different factors. And so I ended up saying, okay, well, if I'm going to keep buying this up magic, I need to do something with it that's not just performing, because I don't do it as much. And I decided to start a magic review YouTube channel. I mean, I watched a bunch of people I even watched you and your review show with magic, David Penn, and I still watch that today. I still watch their show. They do occasionally the Wizard product review. And David from Magic Orthodoxy was also someone that I watched, and I actually got some heat whenever I first started out reviewing magic, because I used a white sheet as well in my videos when I first started. And everybody was like, that's David's thing. That's David's thing. And I was like, a white sheet is now like only one magician's thing. You know, that's how the magic community works, is we can take claim to some white sheet. And I never really talked to David like when I was starting my YouTube channel, not much at all. I mean, we talk occasionally now, just like via text and stuff, but it was just weird to see like you choose one thing. That's the only thing, is that I use a white sheet, and then everybody was like, oh, this, we got us a mini Dave Kenny from over here at Magic Orthodoxy. And so that was something I had to battle, like getting into the YouTube game, is that since it is crowded, I mean, you even said it, that there's plenty of magic review shows, but you know, there's probably, I'd say maybe like anywhere from 5 to 10 that people can regularly name and say that they watch like consistently. And once I started getting into like that top 10 of like, if someone asked, where do you watch magic reviews? Like I would see my name on forums and stuff, like a couple years into it. That's when I would just kind of have some, like, I guess like motivation or some kind of momentum when you start seeing that the work that you're doing is actually kind of paying off in a sense, and that you are being noticed. Because I mean, you know as good as anybody, it's a lot of work. I mean, putting in especially as much content as you put out. I don't even put out near anything close to that. I just put out like a couple videos a week, and it's still like a lot to get done for me. And I would love to up my content game as far as like how often I post, but it just takes so much time. And I'm sure we can talk about this and elaborate on it a little bit later. But basically, what it boiled down to is I wanted a creative outlet that involved magic and all these other things, and also a way to justify spending all my money on magic tricks. And then it led to me getting some free magic, because I also was like, well, I want to get as much magic as I can with the amount of money that I have. So if I take this money, invest it into buying magic tricks, start a YouTube channel, keep buying magic, then maybe other people will send me magic, then I can review it and just, you know, cycle. And that's what ended up happening. And that's what I do today, is that I still buy a lot of magic, but I also get some sent to me. And I just love magic, and I love content creation, and the fact that I get to combine all this stuff together is just something that really makes me happy.
So what advice would you give somebody who's wanting to start a YouTube channel?
Drink lots of coffee. That is that's one of the main things, and be willing to put in the work. And one thing is just start. Just do it. Like literally just press record. I mean, don't script a little bit if you want to, but like really, you're not going to get over yourself or like the fear that you have of maybe being in a camera and just in front of one for so long, because it's going to take a lot of tries. It's going to take a lot of time. And eventually, over time, if you're doing it right, which I mean, if anybody does anything for a long period of time, you're going to get better at it. It's just how it works. So start out, press record, script out some stuff maybe if you want to, or as you kind of advance in your YouTube career, then maybe you can start scripting out a little bit more, or just taking it a little bit more seriously with some organization, or planning out your content, or just all sorts of things. But my one piece of advice would just be, know that you're getting into something that is going to take some work, but it's absolutely doable. I mean, as we were talking about earlier, find a niche, find something that sets you apart, and then go at it. Don't wait for, like, once you've found your niche. And honestly, once you start, you're still probably going to be like finding your way through some sort of, you know, weird jungle of magic reviewers or just magic content creators on the internet. It's going to take time, but find some sort of niche to start with, and just press record, just go out there and get started, which sounds like it sounds like obvious, but I feel like a lot of people don't do it. And another thing, this is probably one of the biggest ones as well, consistency. Be consistent. And that's something that I've struggled with through college. Was I was trying to, you know, keep up good grades, like make certain like academic lists in college and graduate. That's the end goal. Obviously, but how do I also be consistent on YouTube at the same time? And so if I had to go back and like kind of critique or change anything that I've done over my YouTube journey, it would be more consistent. Because over like my junior, senior year of college, it kind of was lacking in some of the content, where I was just posting like once a week, and then it got to like once every other week, and then once a month, and then kind of went back to once every 2 weeks. And it was just, find a way to be consistent. And I think you've talked about that as well, is have a schedule so people know when to expect your content, but just be consistent and know what you're getting into, and just do it. Just go at it, and know it's a marathon. It's not a sprint at all.
That's really good advice. And is it possible? I get this question all the time. Is it possible to make a full-time living from YouTube? Can you be the next Chris Ramsey or the next whoever the hell it might be?
The short answer, yes. Long answer, yes, but it's going to take a lot of work, a little bit of luck, and it's also not just going to be YouTube. It's going to be using YouTube as a platform to kind of launch you into other things, or maybe launch other businesses, or have like a merch line or a course or somewhere that you're selling other things, or like you maybe have like sessions where you schedule people to Zoom with you because you have this knowledge. But YouTube is just it's so versatile because you can use it for a lot of different things. And once you've grown a personal brand or just a brand on YouTube and on the internet through content creation, I mean, we're in 2022, about to go into 2023, and video is one of the most important things, I feel like, and something that gets overlooked. I mean, we're talking about it when we said magic companies don't use social media as well as they should, but video is something, and I think there's just a content creation lacking from magic retailers in the industry. And I just feel like people aren't taking advantage of video. So just know that it is possible. Video is a great way to do it. YouTube is a great platform to do it on, but it's not just going to be AdSense. It's going to be merch. It's going to be products. It's going to be courses. It's going to be a lot of different things that, yes, YouTube is maybe the main thing that takes up a lot of your time, but just know that don't rely on YouTube because AdSense is only a small part of it. And I'm sure you can relate to that as well, that I'm sure you make a lot more money off the NETRIX than you do YouTube AdSense.
Yeah. And then some. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. And so it's just, and from releasing products and all these other things, but YouTube has like launched you also farther into your, like, more people know about you, more people buy your products, more people know about the NETRIX, more people want to say hey to you at a convention and see the stand that you're at and buy something. Like, YouTube is definitely important and might be one of the most important things in that equation, but it's not necessarily the thing that's bringing you in the most money. And I think that's what people need to understand.
Yeah, and that sort of stuff takes time. You can get,
oh boy, does it?
You can get anything. It can happen, but it takes time, it takes energy, it takes effort, because nobody's going to want to support you or sponsor you or buy into what you're doing if, like you said, you're not consistent, you're not delivering content on a regular basis. It's basically a full-time job that's not paying you a full-time wage.
Oh yeah. And it sucks. Like, a lot of the time you're going to be up till, I mean, I've pulled multiple all-nighters. I've been, I know we're doing this right now. I mean, it's literally like 1:30 in the morning for you. So it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot of, honestly, blood, sweat, tears, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot. And it just sounds so cliche, but it's so true. It is going to take all of that stuff, and you have to be prepared, and you just have to be willing to roll with the punches. I mean, back in my freshman year of college, I lived on campus, and I probably went to school about probably like an hour away from where I was living. And pretty much every weekend I would come home from college and spend the weekend at home learning magic, reviewing magic, editing videos, posting videos. And it was just a cycle. I mean, almost every weekend I was coming home and making content. And I'm glad that I had that drive, and I still do, but education, and I was at the end and I needed to get to the finish line for my degree. And now that I have, I'm back to posting more regularly, and it's going to increase even more next year. But I'm so thankful that for those first, couple years of college, that I was really consistent with what I was doing. And I still pull the late nights. And back then I was too. So those really never end, but you just got to be willing to do it and know that it's worth it. It is. In the end, like, I'm so satisfied with and happy with how YouTube has gone over these past 4 or 5 years, that it does make me feel good about all the time I put into it. And so that's just got to be one thing. You got to love YouTube. You got to love content creation, because if you don't, you're going to get burned out quick if you're just doing it for monetary purposes. And money's nice. It is. But just know it's going to take a lot of time to get it, and you're not going to get a lot of it for a long, long time. And I still don't get a lot of it. I still don't get much at all from YouTube itself. But I've managed to get myself flown out to Vegas, and I enjoyed a weekend in Vegas because of YouTube and people that found me on YouTube. So it's like, it will pay off. Just don't think you're going to make it strictly from YouTube money, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And I think that's the important part, what you're saying there. YouTube, doing YouTube, especially as a magician, is not necessarily about becoming a huge YouTuber. It's about creating a brand. It's about brand identity. You look at me, for example, as a magic creator. I went to Magic Live, as you know, you were there, and I literally couldn't walk from one part of the convention hall to the other without getting stopped every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And I'd only been back in Magic for about a year. And at that point, I'd only bought out like 3 or 4 tricks. And it wasn't because I'd bought out the best tricks in the world. It wasn't because it wasn't for anything like that. It was because everybody was coming up to me saying, "Oh my God, I see your content on YouTube. I absolutely love it. I support you with everything you do. I buy everything that you bring out because I want to support you because of the videos that you put out has helped me." And it's that, it's kind of building this brand and making yourself recognizable. So it's kind of about knowing what you want out of Magic, whether it's been a creator or whatever it is, and using YouTube as a platform to help grow that brand, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at yourself, like you said, and also look at someone like Rylan, who, where would Rylan be without YouTube, or without, like, he probably wouldn't, I don't know. I mean, he might have, but I don't know if he would have made it onto BGT as quick as he did without social media. And so it's just like, it's catapulted him. And literally, like you said, like, AdSense doesn't pay you and Rylan enough to make a full-time living, but the opportunities that you got because of YouTube and the businesses that you've been able to leverage because of YouTube, that can help pay the bills. But it wasn't just YouTube that did it, but it was YouTube that helped get you there to that point. And I think that's just what a lot of people overlook, is that it's not just going to be YouTube. It's a whole equation of a lot of different things. And speaking of Magic Live, you had people flocking to you literally everywhere. I saw it from table to table, from walking around the casino, whatnot. I certainly did. And I had a few people come up to me and say, "Hey," but I couldn't even get anybody to recognize me, especially as that person right over there through this camera. I walked up to you. This was, you were running on about 2 hours of sleep. And I walked up to you at the coffee shop inside the hotel, and I tapped you. I was like, "Hey man, how's it going?" And you're like, "Good, hope you are too." I was like, "All right, I'll see you this weekend." You're like, "Yeah, have a great weekend, man. It's gonna be fun." I was like,
can't
I had
believe
no
I
idea
didn't
who I was.
recognize you, man.
Well, to you, for your this is also, like, to your credit, I look a lot different usually when I'm at a convention. I usually, like, I have my glasses on, which I film my videos a lot of times without them. I've started to film more recently with them. I had facial hair, which a lot of times I'm either clean shaven or, like, don't have much facial hair. I had longer hair. I mean, it was like, I did look like a different person. I had several people that I ran into that I would be in a conversation with, and about 10 minutes through the conversation, they looked down at my name tag and they'd say, "Oh my gosh, that's where I know your voice from. I've watched your videos before." It was funny that I got to kickstart the weekend by running into Craig and not knowing who I was. And it happened literally with multiple people. So you're not alone, but that is a funny story I wanted to share on here.
I was beat at Magic Live. I was so tired. Everybody was like, "Are you coming down the bar?" No, I'm going to sleep and try to actually be able to stand up for 8 hours the next day on that booth.
Yeah.
At the end of that convention, I wanted to shove a keymaster up someone's ass if they get, it was.
Oh, I'm sure. And every time I'd walk into the dealer hall, you were ready, like, dimming products, like, taking people's money, handing products out. It was a whole weekend full of, literally, like you said, being on your feet and doing that for 8 hours straight, and just, like, so much stuff. So I totally get it. And I mean, I think at one point for Magic Live, I thought I had COVID. I tested myself while I was there because I genuinely thought I had COVID, but I actually think it was just from being so exhausted from the convention, and, like, the combination of all the smoke in the casino and you're coughing and you're hanging. It was just like, I genuinely thought I was about to have to quarantine in that hotel for a little bit because I thought I had it. But I mean, that's just how crazy these things wear you out. I mean, it's something.
It really is 100%,
especially like a Goliath like Magic Live is.
It is. Although you're coming to Blackpool next year, aren't you?
I am. I'm looking forward to it, but man,
anything like it.
I'm scared.
It's about 4 times the size of Magic Live.
Oh man, this is it's gonna be something.
Sleep. You will not sleep for 4 days. You will not sleep at all. It's not going to happen.
I'm worried, but I'm willing and able, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna kick Blackpool's ass.
It's gonna be great.
Oh, can I say that on the channel? I know we're not on the podcast. Can we? I know this isn't the rants anymore.
Magic TV. Yeah, 100%. Talking about one more, I want to speak to you about something else when it comes to YouTube, which is
Yeah.
dealing with assholes or dealing with haters, because that's something that I don't think people are prepared for when they get into YouTube. I know that it has got to me in the past, and I have a very thick skin, and I tend to try to not let things get to me. And even me, I've had it get to me. I think that, if you don't mind talking about this, that's one thing that can really be like a negative towards YouTube, especially within the Magic community, unfortunately.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that is kind of part of the thing to the community that we're in, is that we do have a group of people that do love Magic and that are great and like great to work with, and they'll help you get better. But we also have a large part of people that it's like they kind of want to bring you down, because if they see you're doing better than them, they're like, I need to knock them down back to my pedestal and all this sorts of stuff. So yeah, no, I don't mind talking about it at all. It's something that you just kind of got to know going into it. It's going to happen. It doesn't matter how, I don't care if you made perfect content. I mean, nobody's going to make perfect content, but I don't care if you did make perfect content. There's going to be someone out there that doesn't like it. It's going to be, and it's going to be easy for that person to comment and hide behind a computer and say, oh man, Craig, this video sucks. I can't believe that you flashed during this performance. Or Tyler, I can't believe that you don't perform in your videos. You must be a trash magician, or you must, like, all this sorts of stuff. Like, there's tons of it. I mean, but ultimately, once you start doing it for a while, once you're consistent, you've been doing this for, you do got to know that you got to get through that first little bit. Like, there's a hump that you got to get over. And once you get over, you're still going to get comments, but the sweet, meaningful, motivational content, like those comments are going to start coming in a lot more frequently, and you're still going to have the bad ones. But what I would say is, know that it's coming. Once they come, if you want to read them once, that's fine. Read them once, delete them, put them out of sight, out of mind, whatever it is. You don't even have to read them, but just try not to let it get to you. Try not to keep it in the back of your mind saying, well, this person said this, and I really shouldn't be doing this because of it. No, just keep doing what you want to do. And if there are people out there that are being nice, that are giving you constructive criticism, then maybe work that into your videos. But don't just feel like because someone's criticizing you for something they don't like, that you have to change your style or your videos because of it. That's not true. But just know that it comes with the territory. I mean, imagine that they don't have anybody hating on them. They're not lucky enough to have a following to even have people hate on them. Like, it's just that kind of thing. You kind of got to have that mindset of, I'm in this position because of where I'm at and where I've put myself of in front of all these people, and I'm getting so many more eyes than they are, that I have haters. Like, just be, I mean, in a way, kind of be thankful for it. I mean, it's like, I also have a bunch of people that love me, but how lucky am I to be so popular, and I bother someone else so much with the stuff that I'm doing for the good of Magic, or for the good of like my life, or whatever it may be, that someone wants to hate on me and take time to type up a comment, take the time to think of something to say to me or say about my family or anybody. It's like, wow, I must really be bothering them a lot for them to say that, and that's just kind of how you gotta be in that mindset. And yeah, there are times when it's probably going to get to you, and you're probably going to slow your content, or you're probably going to, maybe one day you don't want to film, and that's fine. But just know that comes with the territory, and that you're lucky to have haters, because if you have haters, that definitely means that you have a lot of people that support you as well.
That's very true. That's a great way to look at it as well, Tyler. Really is. 100%. Let me talk to you about something else, which I've been quite vocal about on my channel, and we can bring this up as well if you're okay with that. And
Here we go.
Yeah, no, it's nothing concontroversial. It might be.
I think I know what's coming.
Yeah. So as a creator of Magic, I've always take away the fact that I'm a YouTuber as well. As a creator of Magic, one thing I've always tried to do, wherever possible, is leverage the YouTube community. And what I mean by that is, when I bring a product out, I ask the company I bought it out with to send review copies. You've received review copies. Michael O'Brien, Steve Faulkner, David from Magic Orthodoxy, David Penn, everybody has received. And you have to obviously stand behind your product because it has to be good. But also, I think there's a lot of creators out there that don't leverage the community, the YouTube community. And I genuinely think one of the reasons that I'm quite popular as a creator is because I've tried to get my name out there to as many online review shows as I can with as many products as I can. Is that important? And in the context of that, obviously, we had the issue a little while ago with somebody who I don't think leverages the community very well, which is Peter Egging, and I've spoken in great detail about him. And I think he's a good creator, and this isn't about him as a creator. I think that he's sucked recently, but I think that as a general, he's a good creator. But my issue with Peter is how he treats people online, and you are the perfect example. And I did a rant on Peter, not because he's bought out crap magic products, not because I don't feel like his tricks are any good, but just because he came across as an absolute knob dealing with you, who was a customer of his. And yeah, I think it'd be worth talking about this if you're up for it.
Yeah, for sure. I don't mind talking about it at all. It was back when it was back when I first started my YouTube channel. So at the time, I didn't really have like a huge following, or really I didn't have like a ton of people to stand behind me. Now, I will say that was something that was really tough, because I was having people, and it's kind of in the early stages, like I mentioned earlier, and like you said too, it is tough to keep going because you feel like you're putting in all this work for nobody to really appreciate you for, or even get value out of the content you're making. Like, are they? I don't know. No one said it yet. And that kind of thing. And this was probably about, I don't know, 3 or maybe 6 months into my YouTube journey. So I haven't been doing it for long. And I spent a lot of money on a product that Peter brought out. It was coin to can. And a lot of those units that they sent out, some of them were like either malfunctioning, or some just had, but just because of the nature of the trick itself, it was kind of clunky and like a little weird to get around some of it had some issues basically. And I filmed the review, but before I filmed the review, I tested out the product, played with it, all this stuff. And I filmed a really, really positive review. And then literally before I even put my camera stuff up, in the middle of that review, I was playing around with the gimmick some more, and I actually ended up like performing it a little bit more. I had some family over, and I ended up performing this trick, and I started realizing that there was a lot of faults that I didn't see before I pressed record. And so I ended up literally the same day filming the review, but like the latter half over again, and talking about the negatives that I had about the product, which were real negatives. And I wouldn't have mentioned them if I didn't have a genuine issue with the product at the time. And I don't think Peter liked that I had some negatives and that I had some issues that just genuinely didn't work for me about the product. And I'm not saying everybody had these issues, because I'm sure some people either didn't have them or they're not as big of issues to them. But I want to try to mention everything that I feel is necessary about a product. And even if it doesn't bother, some things that I mentioned about a product, even if it's a negative, it doesn't bother me, but I want to let other people know, because I know that everybody has a different style. Everybody has things that they look for in products. And this trick really ticked me off because it wasn't working properly for me in every scenario. And I was troubleshooting. I was doing a bunch of different things, and I listed a bunch of things that I'd had a genuine experience with. Well, Peter took to the cafe and ended up saying, like, don't take advice from this kid, or don't take the word of this kid. Basically, he called me a kid, and I was like, I think it was like 19 or 18 in the video. So I mean, I was still like a kid, but legally an adult, and it just kind of felt like he was trying to like knock me down or like take me. I don't know. It was just a really not good situation. But what made it worse was that he would make comments like that, and then there would be like a couple other people on there, like on the cafe, like kind of some people agreed with him, or like, because I don't have a reputation yet. I'm 6 months into I've been doing magic for years, but publicly online, no one knows me, like, and so it was like tough to actually have people, especially so early on, like a controversy where people, maybe if this happened today, maybe nobody would have replied and agreed with him, because it would have been like, well, we've seen Tyler for 4 or 5 years now, and if he's puts out his opinion on a product, that's genuinely how he feels. And I've built up this brand and this reputation of being honest with the products, whether I bought them with my own money, whether I got it sent to me, and that I tell it how it is and just that kind of thing. And it just sucked because people would be like, yeah, it's just a little mini, David from Magic Orthodoxy, or yeah, he's just trying to like, make basically just a bunch of, negative talk. And it sucked. It really did suck. But there was also a couple people in there that were like, well, maybe I kind of was having a similar issue with this. So that was kind of nice to like help me feel reassured that like, okay, I'm not the only person having issues and that my issues are valid, and that I wouldn't have even said them if they weren't valid. So it was just a whole big thing. But yeah, Peter ended up saying some things that were just like, man, why you got to say that? I mean, if you disagree with my review, that's fine. There's other ways to go about it instead of calling me a kid that people shouldn't listen to. And that's genuinely what it came down to. I feel like he could have went about it a whole nother way.
Totally. And people are going to call me a hypocrite for saying this because Luke Dancy reviewed the Quantum deck and I went down on him like a ton of bricks, but that's because Luke Dancy is a lying knob. And he literally made shit up that was provable bullshit. I've had negative reviews and I've been like, okay, cool, no problem, that's fine. If you don't like my stuff, that's absolutely not a problem.
Yeah, I've seen you comment before on someone that posted something negative, and you're like, "Hey, sorry you feel that way. Maybe it doesn't suit you. I get it." So yeah, no, I know that you've taken negative reviews before and kind of responded to them in a way that was like, maybe not for you. I get it. Thanks for trying it out. Stuff like that.
But in terms of calling somebody a kid and belittling their opinion when they've spent a lot of money on a product. A lot of money, like $100 or something. And
I think it was like 135. And like at the time, I'm a 18-year-old who's like literally just starting college. I don't have a full-time job, and the job that I had was part-time, and it paid all right. But I mean, I'm not, by any means getting rich or like, the time that it takes to make that money was a lot of time. I mean, that was like several days work actually getting up that money and filming the reviews and all that stuff. So it's like, and also I had, like I said, I was just starting out college. So like I had college to worry about as well. So it felt like, man, I spent this much money on a product that I'm literally putting money in your pocket, putting food on your kids' tables. And because you disagree with my opinion, and I was not trying to badmouth anyone, I was genuinely just telling my opinion about the product and my experience with it. And then I get crapped on the cafe by him. And it's just kind of like, why? Like, what? I have screenshots on my phone somewhere because I remember I was like, well, going to take a screenshot of this or remember it, and kind of used it as like motivation to just keep putting out content and keep telling people that, hey, no, look, if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. And yeah, so just kind of use that stuff too as like motivation. That's another thing to go back on what we talked about earlier. Just use it as motivation to get better and keep going and keep putting out content because you're doing something that these people aren't.
Yeah, that's great advice. And you touched on this earlier on. I'm going to ask one more question about YouTube, and see if I can get your advice on something for everybody who wants to do this. I have seen so many magicians, fans of magic, start a YouTube channel with huge goals. I'm gonna post this many videos, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this. And after 3 months, they've gone, actually, sod this. No, I'm not. And one of the biggest problems, and you alluded to this just, is when you first start YouTube, you don't have an audience. And for several months, you can be getting 4 views, 3 views, 10 views, 12 views, 14 views.
Yeah.
And there's nothing more disheartening.
It sucks.
Spending hours looking at a product, learning it, putting the time into videoing it, editing it, uploading it. You hit upload, you finally send it to the internet so everyone can see it. And then the next day you look at it and it's like 6 views, and and then that happens upload after upload after upload. And you kind of sit there and you go, why
am I doing it?
Bothering? The 6 people who have watched this are probably my family. They wouldn't give a crap if I don't post it. Like,
they don't even like magic. They just like you.
Exactly. And that's the main reason I think why people start YouTube and then give up. And you know, there's a lot of decent sized names that have done that. There's a huge creator who I'm not going to name, a huge creator in magic that's very, very respected. And about a year and a half ago said to me, I'm going to set up a YouTube channel. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Had grandiose plans, even with his reputation and his name in the industry, got very low viewing figures. And after about 3 or 4 months was just like, look, YouTube's not for me, because I'm just throwing all of my time and effort into this and I'm getting nowhere. So what advice have you got? Because that for me is the biggest thing as to why people don't do it. How do you push past that? Because you have pushed past it. I know over the last, for a period of time when you were at college, there was a bit of inconsistency, but your figures are always, when you post a thing, even if you hadn't posted for a couple of weeks, you're still going to get good figures on your videos.
Yeah.
And you can see, if you were looking at a graph now, it's an upward trajectory. So how do you push past that?
It's tough. It really is. I mean, like you said, it in the beginning, it is difficult to keep up doing that. And also, you can ask me as many questions about YouTube as you want, because YouTube is like one of my pride and joys. Even if it wasn't about magic, I would still be doing YouTube, I think, to this day in some capacity, just because I love YouTube so much. But getting past that is, whew, man, was it difficult? I mean, and I know everybody has different circumstances, and you just kind of got to know, like, these are mine. I got to deal with it. If I want to be successful on YouTube, I got to get through this period. And also, at some point, if you're not getting views and figures after like maybe 8 months to a year, and you're doing everything that you can, well, maybe you're not doing everything that you can, because once a year goes by, you should at least see some sort of growth. And I think that's when you maybe might need to look like inside, like inwards at yourself and what you're posting. Are you even posting good content? Are you marketing it appropriately? Is the thumbnail good? Is the title good? I mean, there's so many things that can go into what makes a good video. And at that point, you might need to kind of look, like I said, at yourself and kind of look at your channel and kind of do kind of analyze a little bit and figure out what you can do to actually make your channel better. But if you're not at that point yet, and you genuinely are struggling just because it is a lot of time and it is a lot of effort, it sounds so bad. Keep doing it, keep going, and just know that in the end, it is going to be worth it. If you genuinely believe that you are making the best content that you can possibly make, you're going to succeed on YouTube. If you think that your content is better than someone else's, or at least that people will choose, maybe they don't have to choose to not watch this other person's, but if they're going to watch yours in addition, at least, or maybe they watch it instead of someone else's, and you feel confident in saying that, or you feel confident in being different and being original with your content, that you think that people would enjoy it, then just keep going. I mean, even Mr. Beast, like, I watch countless, I mean, he's just a YouTube mastermind and like a giant on the platform, obviously. And he just has such a wealth of knowledge on YouTube and like what makes a video viral, or like how to post good content. And a lot of times, I mean, I've listened to Mr. Beast like speak for literally hours, and an endless podcast. And the one thing that he always comes back to is, if you're just making the best content possible, you will succeed on YouTube. The algorithm will find you, and the algorithm is only getting better as time goes on. So genuinely, it's if you start a YouTube channel today, you might think it's a little bit crowded and that you shouldn't start one, but the algorithm has evolved over the years to the point where people that have 5 subscribers and 10 subscribers or 50 subscribers are getting a lot more traffic from like suggested videos or from search or other different things, because they're learning how, like, what viewers are watching, what makes this person watch this and this and that. And I feel like if you're just making good content consistently, and you think and you believe, like, I mean, don't just say, oh, well, this video was pretty good. No, if you genuinely believe that you're making good content that other people would want to watch, you're gonna succeed. Just give it time and just push through it, because it is tough, but push through it and find a love of doing it. If you don't find like some sort of happiness in either editing or filming, now I'm not saying you have to like all of it. You don't have to like all of it. There's parts where I just kind of sit down and I'm like, man, really don't want to do this right now, but I need to do it. And you got to push through those times. And also, something that Mr. Beast has said in the past is that if there's something that you absolutely despise, don't do it. Pay somebody else to do it. So if you maybe let's say you're not like technical at all, and you don't want to edit your videos, well, find a friend that knows something. Say, hey man, I'll take you out to lunch next week if you'll edit like a couple videos for me. And maybe you can start out with the videos that you're posting not being heavy on the editing side, and all it takes is your friend to maybe spend an hour or two a week putting, maybe 3 videos together for you, and then you buy them lunch, and then, it's just like a mutual thing. Or even Fiverr, like go online and find somebody. Like there are ways to get around the whole, like if you're afraid of something, like you don't know how to do something, that shouldn't be an excuse. Like just save up a little bit of money, pay somebody to edit your videos. Maybe it's you don't like setting up every time. Well, maybe you need to pay for some stuff to hang up your stuff on the walls, like it's just, there's always a way to maybe try to find out how to. I'm not saying take shortcuts, because that's not what it is, but that's a way to just kind of better use your time and your energy, put all that energy that you would have put into editing into filming. And then now you have, instead of spending 3 hours to edit, you have 3 more hours of filming, and now you can pay somebody to edit your videos. Even if you have a love of editing, sometimes it might be more beneficial to do that just because of the time that you have. So it really just depends on, your situation and the stuff that you're going through. But those are the pieces of advice that I would have.
It's great advice. Absolutely amazing advice. It really is. And I wasn't going to ask you another question on YouTube, but as you said, ask me anything. I will. I'm going to ask you one more. What's your thoughts about YouTube Shorts as a magic creator? Because I think we need to be clarified. We need to clarify something here. There's a world of difference between somebody like myself and Tyler and David from Magic Orthodoxy. There's a world of difference between us and a magician who's just putting YouTube videos up to get gigs. I mean, I've got a separate YouTube channel that nobody is ever going to see, that has content on for my customers through my company that want to book me as a magician, because the content that I put on for magicians is completely different than the content that I would put up for for a punter. But for magicians, how important are shorts, and what's your opinion on people like Dan Rhodes, who made a name for himself on TikTok and has now, and let's give credit to the guy, has become one of the biggest YouTubers on the planet, not just magic YouTubers, one of the biggest YouTubers on the planet. I completely disagree with the way he's done it. And I'm friends with people like Henry Harris, who feel personally hard done by with the way he's exposed all of this stuff. But let's be honest, you look at Dan Rhodes' YouTube channel, he never puts long form content out. It's just 20 shorts a day, every single day. And his subscribers and his views come from the fact that he's putting up short form content. So how important is short form content?
It's extremely important, but I think first it comes down to knowing your audience and knowing what they want and knowing how you can cater to them. Because there's a lot of people that watch my videos that, I've had people say, hey, you talk really fast, and I think your videos are too short. You might want to make them longer. But I've also had people that say, man, I feel like you just kind of like you just drug out this video, and they're like, what if you made shorter videos? So it's like there's always going to be people that kind of have like different interests. I think that's where it comes to you as like a content creator, and you got to say, how can I cater to as many people as possible with my different content? And maybe that means that, for the stuff that we do, like, are people really going to watch like a 60-second review? They might, and that's something that I kind of want to experience, like, and maybe like put something up with, but probably not. Like there's just people that want to, when they're looking at a product, they probably want to hear this person talk about it for at least a few minutes and like tell them all the ins and outs, and like because they're about to spend money on something. Like they want to make sure they like it, and maybe they don't feel like a minute is justifiable enough to spend $50. So they want to watch 10 minutes or 30 minutes of reviews and feel like, oh, I make like, this is like a good decision to buy this product, spend my money on. So I think what it comes down to is knowing your content, like worth, and what your audience is going to get out of it, and how do they get that. And Dan Rhodes, he knows what his audience wants. He's not a magic reviewer like us. Like he's posting content purely for laymen. that's what it is. I mean, I'm sure some magicians follow him and watch his content, but it's mainly for laymen. And that is a lot of people that have short attention spans because they just want to see a magic trick. If someone watched our videos that was like a layman and they just watch it till you perform it and then you talk about it, they're probably going to be less entertained after you get done with your performance. And then maybe they click off and go to a different video. But for someone like Dan Rhodes, that was literally their purpose. And he satisfied their craving of some quick magic, and he did it. And that's why it's blowing up, is because he knows his audience and he knows what they want. He knows how to deliver it to them. So, I mean, credit to him. I mean, yeah, I don't agree either with necessarily how he's got there this whole way, but I mean, you got to give credit to the man because either way, he still put a lot of hard work into it as far as like the actual time it takes to film these videos. And it sucks that it was with what he was doing and revealing stuff. And yeah, I feel terrible for Henry. So there's definitely other ways to get around it, but it just comes down to knowing who your audience is and what they want and how do you deliver it to them. I mean, short form content is just like it's a beast. I mean, with TikTok up and coming, I mean, now it blew up over the pandemic and it's still growing. It's like you got to find a way to compete with other people on different platforms. So just kind of you got to look at yourself first and say, what am I producing? What do I want my audience to get out of it? And then maybe do some research on, okay, well, I'm just posting magic performances. What is the best way to get to grow my business with whatnot? And then you can start researching shorts and YouTube, but just know, what do you want? Like, what's your goal and how are you going to get that to your audience and kind of meet in the middle? Like their goal is to watch Click Magic. Your goal is to produce magic content. What's the best way to what's the best road? Is it shorts? Is it YouTube videos, like a long form podcast? For that, it's probably TikTok videos or YouTube shorts of just quick visual magic, but it really just depends on what you're doing.
Yeah. So you'd say if you're a magician watching this and you had no intention of tapping into the magic industry and you just wanted to try and get more people to know who you are to potentially book you, you'd say that probably the way to go down that route is short form content, because lay people are going to sit there spending 25 minutes listening to a guy drone on about magic tricks.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, it's just like satisfying people's short attention spans that somehow keep getting shorter. And that's just what it is. I mean, that's the game and you got to play it. I mean, that's what it is. If you're a magician that wants to grow your following to purely like layman, your best way to do it is probably, my degree is in marketing, but it was a concentration in digital marketing. So I did a lot of research into that kind of thing whenever I was in school. And if you want to grow your platform for magic, I would honestly just say short form content is probably your way to go, at least for as of recording. And I don't see it really changing anytime soon for the near future. So it's probably going to be like this for the future. Not to say there's not a place for long form content, because there is. But I mean, you can see that our channels do well. I mean, the podcast does well, and it's like over an hour every time, sometimes an hour and a half, 2 hours. There's a place for long form content, and there's a place for short form content. It just depends on who you are and what you're doing. So I think, yeah, if you're a magician that wants to succeed in the magic space as a magician, but not for just magicians, yeah, short form content's your way to go.
Absolutely. Like we've mentioned him before, but Ryland, look at Ryland. He's blown up on social media, and it's all off the back of reels and shorts, really.
He's gained thousands and thousands of followers, and I'm sure at this point he has hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views because of him posting all these reels. And so many people have seen him. And it's just like these people have, I mean, I'm sure we could have Rylan on here talking about this, but these videos that he's posted, it was because people wanted to see magic. They saw it in this quick, less than 1 minute video clip. And now they're on to the next one that he's done because they want to see something different, but they still want to see him.
Yeah, absolutely. It is definitely a way to build up a reputation. You know what? I hope that people, this has become an amazing interview, but also a masterclass in YouTube. Really has.
For sure.
You're so knowledgeable about this sort of stuff, and I think it helps that your day job is marketing as well.
Yeah.
So this stuff inside out, back to front, upside down, and left to right. Was going into marketing as a job because you love YouTube so much and you find this whole process fascinating that you kind of gravitated towards that industry?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, like growing up, I was always interested in like business and like selling something, whether that was like a magic trick or a craft that I made at home or something. Like I was always interested in like the business side of things and selling something to someone. But also like I got creative with it. I mean, the stuff that I was selling wasn't just like something that I bought at Walmart and marked up. I mean, like I said, I was either selling like a craft or something that I made. So magic is just something that's always been so fun because of all the creative outlets it has, and being able to implement something like marketing into magic. And marketing is just the reason that I kind of chose marketing as my degree, is because similar to magic, it's just so versatile. Like you can do a lot of things with a marketing degree. I mean, you could go into like marketing research, you could go into like the creative side of marketing, which is like mainly what I was doing. Like when my digital marketing degree, obviously I had to take some classes in like analyzing data and like data analytics and all that stuff, but also a lot of my classes were like content creation and how are you an effective digital marketer by creating content and stuff like that. So I feel like there's definitely a space for creating magic and for creating a lot of different things in the marketing realm. And that's just kind of how I felt like, of the business world, marketing is one of the most creative parts of it. And that's kind of why I chose marketing. And that's why I enjoy it so much. I feel like, because I'm able to apply marketing to pretty much anything. And that's what I love about it. It's just coming up with creative strategies to either get people to watch me or somebody else do something or buy something or literally whatever it may be. I just love the creative part of it and exercising it. And it's just so much fun to me.
So let me ask you a question. What's the plans for the future? Because obviously, you've got a full-time job in marketing. You're ramping up the YouTube content. If I could wave a magic wand and have you living your best life, would you still be working full-time in a job, or would you be doing magic full-time? Would you be performing full-time? Would you be having a YouTube channel full-time? Would you be a creator? Is that something that interests you? Where, if I could literally snap my fingers and you are living your best life, how does magic figure into that, and what would you be doing?
Do we have 3 more hours? That's how long it would take to answer this. But quick answer. Magic would still be involved, obviously. Marketing would still be involved. Would I still be working the same day job? I think I'd still be doing parts of it because I, like, at heart, I just love like I love business. I love marketing. And so being able to do marketing for multiple businesses and kind of be like from a, maybe at that point it's like a management perspective, because I've been doing it for so long. In obviously in the future at this point, it's like I've been doing marketing for a while. At that point, you kind of move up into like the managerial roles and stuff like that, managing a few different businesses. But I would really, really love to be doing kind of managing a few different businesses, but also doing a lot more YouTube and being able to make a lot more content or like stuff. Just, I really do enjoy creating content on YouTube. And that's just something that I never want to quit doing. So I think in a perfect world, I'm able to manage businesses or like manage a few businesses from a marketing and a business perspective, but at the same time apply almost, if not just as much time into YouTube and content creation, because I can maybe, free up some time and just be at a managerial position to maybe, half the week is YouTube, half the week is doing marketing for other businesses. And I would really like to be doing YouTube a lot more, but I don't want to phase out any of the other marketing stuff that I do. Maybe it just becomes like I don't spend as much time on it because I'm able and will. I just need, and it comes down to also like financial stuff. Like obviously YouTube doesn't pay the bills for me right now, and I would love it if it did. And if it did, then I'm able to do YouTube a lot more and stuff like that. So it also comes down to that. But in like one sentence, I would love to be doing YouTube a lot more than I am now. And I would love to be managing some other marketing agency stuff or just marketing content creation. It's just a love of combining all that stuff together. So yeah, I like to be doing YouTube a lot more, but I don't want to leave what I'm doing now as well. So just a good combination, but more YouTube, a lot more YouTube.
So off the back of that, two questions. The first question is, would you ever consider producing content on YouTube that's completely nothing to do with magic? Would that be something you would want to transition into? And for example, I give you Chris Ramsey, who started off just doing magic and now He's got puzzles and, you know, a huge audience that isn't even magicians and don't even know really that he does magic.
Yeah, I at heart, I love marketing. I love YouTube. I love content creation, and magic just happens to be the thing that I was interested in growing up, and that I was a large part of even my personality, just because that's what everyone knew me as. So magic was obviously the first thing that I thought about when it came to a YouTube channel, because hey, oh, let's do a magic YouTube channel. But would I do YouTube in another sense? Oh, 100%. I don't know if it ever will happen, but would I do it and would I love doing it? Oh yeah, definitely. I just love YouTube, love content, and it just happens to be magic that I do YouTube for. But yes, I love YouTube so much that it doesn't matter if it wasn't magic. I still feel like I would be doing YouTube, and I could see myself doing content and other things because I do have other interests. And maybe that'll happen in the future, and then it's still magic, but it's also another YouTube channel, or maybe it's like some mixture of both. Maybe it's marketing and magic, and I can kind of find a way to do both of them on the same channel because they both, you know, kind of go with each other so well. So yeah, I think in the future there's definitely going to be some content that will not involve magic, but if it's on the same channel, obviously they'll overlap. But maybe there's a different channel in the future that doesn't even relate to magic at all, and it just happens. But yeah, as of right now, that's just my love is YouTube, and magic happens to be the thing that I do.
And one other question, where does performing figure into this? I know that you love performing, but I don't think that's the thing that you love most about magic. I might be wrong, but I'd love to know.
I think you're right, but performing is definitely up there. Like I absolutely love performing, and the more that I find myself performing, the more that I'm like, man, I wish I performed more. But it's just something where I've always like been an entertainer at heart, or like just like a creative, whether that be like acting or just being on a stage in some capacity, doing something, performing anything, music, literally any type of entertainment I love. And I think that magic and doing magic from a performing point of view, I would love to do more of that in the future. So yeah, I would absolutely love to be able to do more and dedicate more time to magic, whether that be performing, creating magic, creating content, just anything relating to magic. Yes, I would love to do more of. And performing is one of them. And also creating magic is one of them. I have 2 downloads out on Penguin that got released when I was like maybe 16. I mean, that was like that's like 7 years ago. That was quite some time ago. So maybe in the future, actually after we get done with this, I can show you one thing. But there's several things I'm working on that are in the not necessarily the golden pipeline. Okay, well, they haven't been put into that yet, but eventually maybe they will end up there. But yeah, there's some creating involved as well that I can't wait to put out, and maybe it's with a company, maybe it's with myself. But I definitely am going to be putting out some magic creatively from a creator point of view, and doing that maybe next year.
That's great. That's amazing. I'd love to see you bring more creations out. That'd be amazing.
Me too.
Quick fire questions. Number one, if I could, and this is going to be a difficult question for you to answer. If I could snap my fingers and give you your own show in Vegas, but you have to give up all the marketing, you have to give up all of the YouTube, you can't do YouTube anymore because you just got to focus on that show. Would you do it? And then the next question is, you're given your dream job at a marketing company, got nothing to do with magic, but you're managing dozens of clients. But you're not got time to create YouTube. You've got not time to do magic. You have to basically step away from everything. Would you do that?
So I'll answer the second question first. And the answer to that one is probably not, because I have too much of a love for magic and creativity. And somehow I just want to create more magic. So I probably wouldn't drop everything to go do something that doesn't involve magic at all. But would I drop everything, all the marketing, all the magic content creation, to go be a show in Vegas? I think the answer is yes. Actually, I know the answer is yes. I would absolutely do that. I mean, like I said, I would love to perform more. And if that was a way to perform more, I would absolutely do it, because having a show, I mean, there's so much creativity there, and I just enjoy, I don't like doing the same thing all the time. So being able to have the flexibility and the creativity there to develop a new act and develop new tricks constantly, which would be so much fun. And then obviously there's some marketing, a little bit of marketing behind it with getting your show out there. So I think that's like a good mix of things, and all the production side of things from my videography background and everything. So I would absolutely take a show and do that. But would I ever just not want to do magic and do like solely marketing, and I'd have to cut out YouTube at the same time? I don't think so, because I feel like my love of marketing is just so much more powerful, and my skills are so much more powerful when I can combine them with these other things.
That's great. And what I love from doing this interview is, you know, without being too crass, you've absolutely got your shit together, you know. And what I mean by that,
I don't know about that.
No, you have, because there's I speak to so many like early 20-year-olds, and they just don't have a clue, like just about anything. They just haven't got a clue. But you know exactly what you want. You've gone out and got what you want, and you know exactly where you want to be, and it's amazing. It's inspirational, man. It really is.
Well, that means a lot, and I appreciate that. Seriously, genuinely, thank you. And I will say one thing, like one piece of advice that's kind of got me to this point where I am, is that I feel like if you wake up every day and you just think, I mean, even though you're working, like I said, I work a full-time job every day that has nothing to do with magic. I still love it. But if you can wake up every day and say, before I go to bed tonight, what can I do to advance one of my goals, whether that's magic or not? And then you go to bed and you say, did I do something that, developed, got me closer to hitting that goal? Maybe it's another small business that you're starting. Maybe it's something, completely unrelated to magic. But that's something that's really helped me get to like where I am right now. Because if you can just improve by 1% every day, or just do one thing every day that helps you get closer to your goal, I mean, it's crazy how fast you can get there. I mean, don't think it's going to happen overnight, but I mean, it's going to happen a lot more quickly than someone who just said, well, maybe I'll get there, but I want to do this sometime in the next month. No, just every day, even if it's something small. I mean, maybe you watched a YouTube video on how to do a certain thing on YouTube, or how to create a certain piece of content, but you go to bed and you took 5-10 minutes out of your day to advance that goal that you have. You can go to bed like feeling like you did something. And I feel like that's just like something that people overlook, is that there are small victories along the way of getting to where you want to go. And I'm not there at all. I'm by far like I have these big goals, but also set some smaller ones along the way, so that way you keep getting motivated to get to the end one.
That's great. That's really great advice. It really is. And I've said this earlier on, and I'll say it again. This has been a masterclass, an absolute masterclass in how to do YouTube and just how to basically live your best life. And I can tell that you love where you are, you love what you're doing, and you are a genuine asset to the magic community. You really are. I've been a huge fan of yours before you even knew who I was, I think, and I will continue to be so forever. And I want to say two things. I want to say thank you for coming on the channel and doing the interview, and two, for everybody watching this, I want them to, reach out and subscribe to your channel, because you deserve to have the biggest channel on YouTube. And I just want everybody who's listening to this to go and subscribe and listen and watch your content, because honestly, man, you know what you're talking about.
Well, thank you. I really do appreciate that. It means the world. And it's something that I've tried to like kind of put through and get through my videos. And I want to put more of an emphasis on it in this upcoming year when I'm creating this whole like new idea of content that I have, and just getting it out there is and people will see it. But I want to get my personality out there more and just let people know that, hey, I do more than just magic, and I want you to watch this content that I create and just feel entertained and also informed, and just a whole lot of other stuff about it. So yeah, I'm really appreciative of your kind words there, and things. And maybe the channel grows in the process, but I'm just really happy doing what I'm doing right now. And I'm going to keep focusing on, because I know that I make decent content, but there's a lot of ideas I have to get to the next level, and those will be implemented coming up next year. So I've been excited about this for a while, because I just knew that once I graduated college, I was going to have a little bit more time and a little bit more money to put into the YouTube game. So it's coming. I'm super excited about it, and I appreciate you giving me this opportunity. And if anyone's still listening at this point, thanks a lot. I hope you got something out of this whole video, because I know we've been rambling about a lot of different things for a while, but I feel like you said, there was some good nuggets of information in there. So this stuff has worked for me. I'm not saying it's going to work for everyone, but I definitely feel like you need to give it a shot, because it will get you somewhere. It's definitely going to get you on the path.
You're 100% correct. And man, you are so inspirational. You really are.
Well, thanks.
You really are. I want everyone who's watching this to leave a comment down below. Let Tyler know what you thought of the interview. It's been incredible. If you're even considering starting YouTube at some point, listen to this interview, go back and listen to it again, go back and listen to it again, and then do what Tyler said and just pull your finger out and get going and do it. Being a genuine,
that's what she said.
Yeah. we're veering into podcast territory now, Tyler.
But seriously, go back, take notes if you need to, like write down some points that meant a lot to you and something that you think you can use, and just literally just use it. I mean, if anything, if I can help you make one video on your channel and then that helps you start making more, then great. But if you can just at least get one video out of this whole stuff that we did, make some piece of content that you enjoy, if that's what you like, then this was a success.
Boom. I completely agree with you 100%. So guys, leave a comment down below. Let Tyler know what you think. I loved it. Go subscribe to his channel, follow him on Instagram. All the links are going to be down below. Just tell him how amazing he is. And I'm going to be back again with another video, man. I'm going to be back again with about 27 videos this week. So make sure you carry on watching on Magic TV. Go check out Tyler's channel, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks very much for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV, and this is
Talk Magic.
No, this is.
You
get this. Let's try that again. No,
okay.
My name's Craig from Magic TV, and he is
Tyler Lunsford from Tyler Lunsford Magic.
Seamless.
There we go. And no one even knows that we had to do that a second time. So yeah.
No.
I'm sure they'll just forget about 5 seconds ago.
All edited out. Everything was fine.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.